That's why Israel is bombing Syria now. Syria's air defenses sent missiles streaking through the sky on Tuesday night, racing to intercept elusive Israeli aircraft. The Israeli air raid, reported by state news agency Sana, was one of almost 1,000 Israeli air attacks in Syria in 3 years, according to defense analysis firm Janes. The full extent of Tuesday's airstrikes could not immediately be verified, but appeared to focus on ammunition storage sites west of Homs and possibly the Him Shanshar military installation, according to analysis firm Aurora Intel. The U.S. government said in 2018 that Him Shanshar had been used to store chemical weapons. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, a UK-based war monitor, told AFP that these are the first Israeli strikes in Syria since the recent war in Gaza. The monitors claimed that airstrikes targeted multiple governorates could not be verified. The monitor's view also implies that the Israeli Air Force was tied down with the war against the Hamas militant group, and subsequently paused Syria operations. But during the Gaza war, the Israeli Air Force continued a campaign to disrupt a developing missile front against Israel in Syria. Syria has become a pressure relief valve in the conflict between Israel, Hezbollah, Iran and allied groups who operate alongside the Syrian regime, according to David, an analyst focusing on the region at Aurora Intel, who chooses to withhold his second name. That pressure valve serves as an unspoken arrangement between Hezbollah and Israel to reduce the risk of a war in Lebanon. A war with Hezbollah will be devastating for Lebanon and Israel. The devastation for Lebanon could only grow if Hezbollah continues to expand, he said. A conflict with Hezbollah in Lebanon would likely trigger an evacuation of tens of thousands of Israeli civilians, a plan reported by Israeli newspaper Haaretz in 2016, dubbed Safe Distance. A growing guided missile arsenal in Syria would complement the estimated 130,000 rockets and missiles that Hezbollah has in Lebanon, an increasing number of which are PGMs. To counter this growing arsenal, the Israelis dedicated aerial reconnaissance assets for monitoring IRGC operations during the conflict. Israel may therefore have been monitoring Iranian transfers of equipment to Tehran's allies in Syria during the Gaza war, waiting for the moment to strike.